The discussions with AJ are as follows. We will be ready to fight November, December. We are planning life without Jake Paul. But if that is for real, of course, we take that fight in a heartbeat.
I think, Turkey, I think he has something, maybe he has something against Jake Paul. Obviously he's a huge mismatch. Anthony Joshua has been fighting forever. He's fought the best of the best in boxing. And, if Jake Paul does it, from what you're saying, Michael, Jake Paul did accept the fight. Hopefully Anthony does it, and, it'll be a good paycheck for both those guys, and we'll see what happens. But I think people got to start looking at Jake Paul, and he's good for boxing. You'll look what he's been able to do with Hermano Sereno. He gave Mike Perry his biggest paycheck in his whole entire life. Not cumulative to his whole entire career, but he's given, Mike Perry a good check.
Jake Paul's manager says the Anthony Joshua fight could definitely happen, and it's bigger than Tyson Fury.
Francis getting in there with AJ, Jake, who is now 13 fights in, plus one amateur fight, a lot less than AJ, but much more than Francis Ngannou. I think we're very comfortable with it. Ultimately, it's not a fight that I want Jake to do. It's a fight that Jake wants to do. And that's a discussion we've had at length. And he feels very confident about where he is in his career and his chances of upsetting Anthony Joshua.
The idea of Jake Paul stepping into the ring against Anthony Joshua may seem outlandish to many, but it's a possibility that's gaining real traction. In fact, according to Paul's manager, Nakisa Badarian, talks are already underway about staging this massive showdown, and he's not shy about suggesting it could be even bigger than a bout with Tyson Fury.
Let's talk about AJ ever so quickly. I watched Jake Paul the weekend. I feel a bit dirty saying that because I'm not a fan of his, but he did say after the fight that he's sort of having DMs or he's dropping text messages to AJ. They're having a chat about a potential fight. What's your view on that, Eddie?
Well, look, he's calling out Gervonta Davis, who is a 135-pound lightweight, and he's calling out Anthony Joshua, that's a heavyweight monster. I think Jake Paul is crazy enough to fight Anthony Joshua because the money would be absolutely obscene. It's a catastrophic mismatch that people would tune in to watch because it would lead to the end of Jake Paul. Hopefully not literally, but it's that dangerous.
For a fighter like Joshua, who once dominated the heavyweight scene, a matchup with the controversial YouTuber turned boxer would raise eyebrows. But the reality is, this fight could be incredibly marketable. As Badarian pointed out, the size comparison between Jake Paul and Joshua isn't as outrageous as people think. While it's true that Joshua's 2 career losses have been against the highly skilled Alexander Usyk, the 28-year-old Paul isn't completely out of his depth. Jake walks around at 210 pounds, which puts him in a similar range to Usyk's weight for their past bouts. The difference, of course, is that Jake Paul has far less experience than Usyk, and that gap is something Joshua would undoubtedly look to exploit. But with Jake's rising fame and audacity, it's a match that could generate more attention than a traditional heavyweight clash.
I think the fight can absolutely happen. I'm looking at it as Jake versus Joshua, which is quite biblical and it's quite impactful in many ways. If you look at Anthony Joshua, I think he is 28-4, if I'm not mistaken, and 2 of his losses are against Alexander Usyk. Usyk weighed in at 220 pounds for those fights. Jake is not Usyk, a lot more years of experience needed to get to that level, but Jake walks around between 208 and 210, and he fought Mike Tyson at 228 pounds. So I think size-wise, we can get comfortable with it, and I think experience-wise, Jake is learning very fast and growing, and Joshua is a little long in the tooth. So it could be a very interesting matchup, and we're actively discussing it with Matchroom.
The most intriguing detail from Badarian's comments is that this fight could take place in the first quarter of 2026. While a fight between Joshua and Paul might feel like a punchline to some, it's clear that this would be a pay-per-view event of astronomical proportions, particularly if it's held at a venue like Wembley Stadium. And as Badarian himself stated, Jake is drawn to the idea of a hostile reception. Being booed by 90,000 fans at Wembley could give him a shot of adrenaline he thrives on.
And what's driving him to want to take on AJ and prove himself against a global superstar?
2 priorities for Jake Paul in his career. One is becoming a world champion, and if you look at what he's done in 13 fights, he set himself up nicely to be able to achieve that. And 2 is to do massive disruptive events that bring global attention to the sport of boxing. A lot of people criticize Paul versus Tyson on Netflix, but guess what? Biggest fight since the days of Muhammad Ali in terms of eyeballs for the sport. What did that result in? Taylor Serrano on Netflix global headline event for women, right? Biggest moment in women's boxing history was a result of Paul Tyson. Manny Pacquiao just came back and he fought Barrios. Manny Pacquiao at age 46 looked pretty good. Barrios' last fight, Paul versus Tyson on Netflix, gave Barrios the platform to command the ability to fight Pacquiao. So we're going to continue to look to do things that are disruptive, that are different. And boxing in the UK, unbelievable fan base, right? I believe it's the second most popular sport. I wish that was the case in the US, but Jake does a phenomenal job of bringing in the mainstream audience into boxing events, and that's what we want to continue doing.
When looking at the financial side of the equation, Barry Hearn, father of Eddie Hearn, the man behind Joshua's promotion, suggested that the fight with Jake Paul could in fact be more lucrative than a bout with Tyson Fury. It's a reflection of the changing landscape of boxing, where entertainment and marketability often outweigh pure sporting credentials. This is a reality that fans of the sport may struggle with, but as Hearn puts it, in today's world, you have to listen to what people want. So, if the market demands an explosive clash between a YouTuber and a former world champion, promoters will find a way to make it happen.
Your opinion about that, because I'm not saying your opinion is the same as what Eddie's would be or Joshua's be, but
I don't really have an opinion. I listen to the market. If the market says they want a product, you bring out that product. If the market says that we love darts, I do lots of darts events. If the market says they want to see Anthony Joshua against a YouTuber or whatever you want to call him, an influencer, the market has spoken. And anyone in business that doesn't listen to the market don't stay in business very long.
from a boxing side though.
I'm not qualified to give you a boxing answer because I'm not a boxer. I'll tell you what though, for the type of money that I think would be involved, you and I might become boxers.
What's bigger, Fury AJ or Jake Paul and AJ?
Probably the latter. But I'm not saying it should be, I'm just saying it's the world we live in and everyone has the ability to ignore reality, but it never seems to really make sense in the end of the day. You have to listen to what people want. We're not governing our own destiny here. We listen to broadcasters, to fans, to sponsors, and we have to go where we have to go.
It was only earlier this year that Tyson Fury announced his shock retirement after 2 losses to Usyk, leaving the possibility of a fight between him and Joshua in limbo. But now that Fury is reportedly preparing for a return in 2026, there's new hope for that long-discussed showdown. However, while Fury might have the intentions of reigniting his rivalry with Alexander Usyk first, Joshua has to find other opponents to stay active.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look. Bit chubby, bit bulky.
The Jake Paul situation is particularly interesting. Despite only having a few professional boxing bouts under his belt, Paul has built a remarkable career, one that has caught the attention of fans, sponsors, and promoters alike. His recent win against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., a former world champion, has given Paul a solid ranking in the WBA cruiserweight division. While this win may not have been the most thrilling in terms of competition, it's clear that Paul's journey is more than just a gimmick. It's becoming a legitimate boxing career, albeit with a lot of skepticism from traditionalists.
Next for Jake and for AJ?
I think we're looking at it happening in Q1 of 2026 is kind of the current discussion. I think it's public that AJ was taking a little time away. I think he had a little surgery. So once he's ready and once Jake is ready, we're going to squarely focus on that.
Still, the possibility of Joshua fighting Paul is not without risks. Joshua's trainer, Ben Davison, voiced concerns about the dangers of such a fight. He believes that safety must be the top priority and warned against putting Joshua in the ring with someone who might not be ready for the level of competition a fighter like Joshua represents.
As a boxing purist, it doesn't sit well, but as a normal working class lad, I've been asked by builders, would you fight Jake Paul for 5 million quid? I never got 5 million quid for fighting anyone else in a fight, so it's the silliest question in the world. I've been retired 7 years, I'm still very confident. If you give me 3 weeks to get off the couch, I'd probably still beat him with one hand. It's not. Yeah. He's not a good fighter, so it's not even being disrespectful to him. As a YouTuber, as a presenter in what he does, he blows me out the water. That's his line of work, but you're stepping into boxing, another profession. Now, to call the likes of Canelo out, I think is disrespectful. To call Anthony Joshua out is lunacy, but we know why it's happening and why he does it.
Forget Jake Paul.
Forget Jake Paul. A lot of tickets.
Paul. I mean, Jake Paul's going to do what Jake Paul does. But Anthony Joshua, and with respect to you and what you did and didn't earn in your career, Anthony Joshua has earned a king's ransom.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to be fiddle with this, does he?
Yeah. No, he doesn't. But again, all I keep seeing from people out there is, you know, when is enough enough? And I get that. But when you're retired at 33, 34, and you've got to make that last, now you've got more experience than me in this, dealing with a lot of footballers in the past as well, and business people who have to make a certain amount of budget last. It's the easiest money you'll probably ever make.
Of course, there are plenty of individuals in the boxing world who believe this fight could work out just fine. Legendary former fighter Roy Jones Jr. has publicly supported the idea of a fight between Paul and Joshua, saying that it could be great for the sport. Jones Jr. compared the potential clash to Joshua's win over Francis, pointing out that Joshua is adept at dealing with fighters who come to boxing late. From a financial standpoint, he even suggested that a fight with Paul might generate more money for Joshua than a traditional matchup, especially considering the intrigue and curiosity that would surround such a spectacle.
I want to change subjects just a little bit here. And Anthony Joshua, there's rumours circulating he could be fighting Jake Paul next. One, do you think it's good for boxing? And two, do you think the fight will happen?
I think it's great for boxing. I think the fight will happen. AJ is 1-0 against these guys that come in to these boxing careers late. So why not? He's a perfect guy to take him out too. He took Ngannou out. Why would he not take Jake Paul out? And for him, he'd probably make more money fighting Jake Paul than he will fighting anybody else that he can fight right now. So why would he not do it? I mean, not that he needs the money right now anyway, but if he's going to do something, if he want to get a good win to put him back on the scene, that's a perfect win. You get a lot of money doing it.
But there's more to this saga than just talking about the event itself. Some, like Vidal Riley, another fighter in Joshua's 258 management group, think this fight should happen right away. Riley doesn't want to see Joshua take on 2 or 3 other opponents before facing Paul, perhaps even as a Christmas special for fans. It's an interesting perspective, especially considering the somewhat lengthy hiatus Joshua has had from the sport, not to mention the recent surgery he underwent.
Did Christian put it down for us to talk about?
Yeah, he did. It's the next topic.
Okay, we're talking. Okay, cool. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, it's the next topic. What are you saying? Yeah, what are you saying, Lee?
You know what it is? I would like it to happen. I would like it to happen.
Why?
It's just a fight, innit? It's a fight. It's a fight, man. It's gonna generate good income. You know what I'm saying? It will sell out. It could sell out Wembley or wherever it is.
100%.
And the thing is, but you know what it is? I don't think AJ's got the heart like that. You know what?
Man, like Lee on the top post, you know. Search AJ. Come on, you see a number right there.
Yeah. Look, exactly. AJ's the type to coach Jake Paul mid-fight. Oh, keep your hands up, bro. Like show him, like hit him to the body. Like
yeah, he is.
He's a nice guy, bro.
Yeah, he is. When you said that, when I read the tweet, I was like,
he's not gonna treat him like how he treated Ngannou. I don't think he's got it in him like that no more.
Yeah.
While the idea of a showdown between Joshua and Paul might seem to have little in common with the classic matchups we've seen in boxing history, it's clear that this fight is gaining significant attention. Joshua's loss to Daniel Dubois last September only adds fuel to the fire, suggesting that Joshua may be in need of a tune-up fight before he considers taking on any serious contenders again. With many fans and experts questioning whether he's still the same fighter after his recent defeat, a matchup with Paul could be a low-risk, high-reward way for Joshua to shake off any rust and prepare for a bigger challenge down the line.
Anthony, listen to me. Don't take a dive with this Jake Paul, mate. Do not do that, not for $1 billion, my pal. Don't do as the others have done. Do not take dives. If he fights, you knock him dead as a nip. Joshua could knock Jake Paul out with his dick. If it goes any other way, you know it's fucking fixed, don't you?
Meanwhile, in the background, Tyson Fury's return to the sport adds another layer of complexity to the mix. Saudi Arabian boxing chief Turki Alalshik has expressed a desire to see Fury and Joshua each get one more fight before they meet. This may complicate things for Paul, as it's not certain whether Joshua will be available or willing to fight him if he's still looking for his next major opponent in the wake of his injury.
Did you get Jake Paul here tonight as well?
Yeah, I see him. He's a guest for Queensberry, and we are talking now about the future. Let's see.
Are you really talking about a fight between him and Anthony Joshua?
Why not? It is a win-win deal.
You seem to have made anything possible in boxing. Is the dream coming true? I sat with you a long time ago now.
You are with me from 23, 3 years now. You see what happened. But Saudi Arabia now is pushing to have big events, great event, not all inside the kingdom.
In the midst of all this speculation, Jake Paul himself seems determined to make the fight happen. Despite warnings from critics, including those in the boxing world who believe that Paul has no business fighting someone as accomplished as Joshua, Paul remains confident. His outspoken approach on social media, calling out top-tier fighters like Joshua, may alienate traditionalists, but it undoubtedly keeps his name in the headlines. It's hard to ignore his relentless drive and ability to generate headlines, whether it's through taunts or challenges to well-established figures in the sport.
I kid you not, I am now more swinging to it happens than it don't happen. After I spoke to Jake Paul on Saturday, and he looked at me like, obviously, like he gave me a look, you know, like, duh, what kind of stupid question is this? And I was like, huh? I heard that AJ was there, by the way.
Really?
This is what I heard. I can't confirm it, but someone told me AJ was there. Quite a few important people went into a back room.
Right, look.
I'm not saying who was in that, but I'm not saying who was in the back room.
Okay.
I'm saying quite a few important people.
AJ nearly did it, Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
I mean, that knockout was chilling. That was Ngannou. Ngannou is 6'5" and 200, 300 pounds of muscle.
Yeah. Mass strength. A guy that's used to being kicked in the head with shins.
I think AJ, if he did fight Jake Paul, I think he probably would try his best not to do that.
Because if AJ doesn't knock him out in one round, then people are going to say, well, obviously then the fights are rigged.
Yeah.
And just when it seemed like the fight might be too far-fetched, former heavyweight champion and fan favorite Tyson Fury stepped in to offer his support. He suggested that a fight between Joshua and Paul could be closer than people think, and that it would be much more competitive than anyone expects. While Fury's comments may seem out of place given the circumstances surrounding his own career, his endorsement of Paul only adds more weight to the growing legitimacy of a potential clash between the two.
We don't think that, I don't just think Jake's doing it just purely for publicity, but at the same time, will he actually do it? We'll find out soon, but we're up for it. But we can't just live in the world of waiting for Jake Paul, so we're going to fight December. Maybe early January.
In conclusion, a fight between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul might seem absurd to some, but the reality is that it's gaining more steam as time goes on. Whether it's the promise of an explosive pay-per-view event, the clash of personalities, or simply the spectacle of it all, boxing fans can't ignore the buzz surrounding this potential matchup. Despite the concerns about safety and competitive fairness, there's no denying that a fight between these two would draw attention from both boxing purists and casual fans alike. And who knows, this could be the event that changes the way we view boxing in the modern age.